The sentencing of a former Home Affairs official to 14 years in prison for birth certificate fraud underscores the severe consequences of corrupt practices within government institutions, highlighting the urgent need for stricter oversight and accountability measures. In today's video, we uncover a story that shakes the very foundations of trust and integrity. Together, we'll get into the tale about this official being sentenced to 14 years in prison for birth certificate fraud. Without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Mulini, and welcome to yet another episode of Conversations with Lankosi. Now, this is the news commentary section where we will be offering insightful commentary and exploring various perspectives on the stories that shape our world. The recent sentencing of this official involved in a birth certificate fraud scheme has brought to light the vulnerabilities within our government institutions. This official, entrusted with the crucial task of safeguarding our identity records, abused their power for personal gain, jeopardizing the trust of the people they were meant to serve. Without wasting any more time, let us get into this article. Former Department of Home Affairs official Mdunwazi Ngwenyama was convicted and sentenced to 14 years direct imprisonment for corruption by the Guyana Specialized Commercial Crimes Court. The 47-year-old registered and issued a bogus birth certificate in December 2021 for someone who did not exist in the Department of Home Affairs system at the time. He handed the document to Peter Baloyi, 38, who was acting as an intermediary and in exchange received 1,000 rand. The investigation revealed that the certificate was to be handed to a Zimbabwean national. Hawk spokesperson Warrant Officer Letunya Murowa said the Director for Priority Crimes Investigation, known as the Hawks, were informed, and their investigation led to the arrest of Ngwenyama and Baloyi on December 8, 2021. Baloyi was apprehended in the Malamulele neighborhood, and Ngwenyama was nabbed while on duty at the Malamulele Home Affairs office. The men appeared in Malamulele District Court and were released on 1,000 rand bail. This week, Ngwenyama was sentenced to 8 years for corruption and 6 years for fraud. In September 2023, Baloyi pleaded guilty in Guyana Specialized Commercial Crimes Court and was sentenced to 5 years in prison and or an 6,000 rand fine. In addition, he faces 2 years in prison, which will be suspended for 5 years if he does not commit a similar offense. The provincial head of the Hawks in Limpopo province, Major General, hailed the sentencing and praised the work done. This article can be accessed via the IOL website. However, the link will be provided for you guys in the description box below. Now, just by reading this article alone, it is quite clear that this official or these officials manipulated records, they altered information, and engaged in fraudulent activities for quite some time, because I don't think this is the first time, which, ultimately compromised the integrity of our national records. And, the sentencing of these individuals also garnered, mixed reactions. You have people on the one hand who are saying that, corruption undermines the credibility and integrity of government agencies, which erodes our trust as the public, and our confidence in, the administration, which is no lie because we give them the side eye. And, they would go on to say that the case exemplifies, the detrimental impact of fraudulent activities on individuals who actually rely on accurate documentation for legal rights and access to essential services, which makes sense again, because again, guys, people will complain about how they're given the runaround for seeking actual documentation for certain things that they need. But when it comes to shady dealings and cooking up a birth certificate that of an individual that is inexistent, these people are quick. which is just a red flag on its own, because where are you? Where are your priorities? Why are you even working for the Department of Home Affairs if you're going to be out here doing backdoor dealings? You know? And harsh penalties such as imprisonment, you know, are then seen as some sort of a, reminder of some sort, that serves as a deterrent against future misconduct, and it sends a strong message that, corrupt officials will be held accountable for their actions. Which is true, because corruption can only, fizzle for quite some time. There comes a time where it fizzles out, and then the cracks begin to show. On the other hand, you have your critics that argue that, the punishment is excessively harsh and that it fails to address systemic issues that enable such corruption to persist within our government systems. They also go on to say that, the lengthy prison sentence may raise concerns about overcrowding in correctional facilities and the efficacy of incarceration as a means of reforming offenders. Because there was once this thing, or this notion that once went around of people not even being afraid of being jailed for this, because to them, they're going for a paid vacation, but in a very rough vacation spot. And that's how they view it. Some skeptics, question the efficacy of deterring corruption through punitive measures alone, advocating for comprehensive reforms in governance structures and anti-corruption strategies, which makes sense, because arresting umuntu is something, but just arresting them and moving on without doing anything that is going to make it difficult for officials to have such dealings is something that, needs to be done. You cannot now fold your arms when it comes to that. What is it that the department is doing to avoid such things from, happening? Having said that, the impact of this case reverberates throughout society, prompting us to question the reliability of our systems and the individuals placed in positions of authority. How can we prevent such breaches of trust in the future? What measures need to be implemented to ensure the integrity of our vital records? And going forward, are there any updates that we're going to get pertaining stricter, rules for these officials going forward? Now that we have concluded our exploration of this compelling story, we are reminded of the delicate balance between power and responsibility. The consequences of betrayal within our institutions are far reaching, and they demand our vigilance in upholding the values of honesty and transparency. That marks the end of today's video. Thank you so much for lending your eyes and ears. I hope that you found today's video informative. Please do not forget to click on that subscription button or light the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any new uploads. Nkosini.